Carmen Foster, Foster Child, 2021 Grand National four-wheel drive champion. 2 wins, 1 second, 2 thirds. Experience is the best teacher. Okay, mom and dad aren't bad either. But experience keeps you both humble and hopeful through choppy waters of a full Grand National tour. On the cusp in 2018 with memories of a disappointing 2019, Foster knew the 23rd that marred her Toma opener was not going to be fatal. A fresh track in Kansas yielded a third, but then more struggles, more experienced, dropped her out of the top 10. At Rockwell, Foster showed some veteran resolve with another third and got the Foster Child back in the race. Despite the emotion that hung heavily in the humid southern air, Carmen and her Chevrolet were all business in Chapel Hill. On Friday, she took a mid-class hook to second to rise to fourth behind Ted Skelton, Jake Zaring, and Holmans. And on Saturday, she settled into a director's chair of her own. Up the road in Brandenburg, a 10th and 15th kept her 6th as Fathead's Eyewear emerged as the leader, a position fortified when Jake was tops in Bowling Green on Thursday. But Foster made it to the winner's circle too, and her 8th on Friday established the margin of 3 for Fulton County's finale. There, with the Fairgrove gang looking on, Carmen took hook 12 to a no-doubt 332, and the experience she now shares with Dad driving off a champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Carmen Foster, your 2021 Grand National four-wheel drive champion.
Hi, my name is Darren Hartwell, and on behalf of the National Tractor Pullers Association, I would like to welcome and congratulate 2021 NTPA Grand National four-wheel drive champion, the Foster Child out of Fairgrove, Michigan, Carmen Foster. Carmen, congratulations.
Thank you. It was quite a season.
So the season started off at the Wisconsin Dairyland Super Nationals in Tomah, Wisconsin. Not your finest performance. Tell us a little bit about that hook.
So it was raining throughout the whole session for the most part, and the track just got a little bit slippery. It wasn't our fault, but it just made me back in the pack, so we just moved up from there. Absolutely.
So fortunately for you, that was the low point of the season, and everything moved forward and built from there. So the next weekend you moved to Dodge City. It was a pretty good weekend for you guys there as a team, maybe not so much for you on the second night.
Yeah, Dad won the second night. I got third the first night. It was pretty good. We tried some different clutch discs, and I couldn't get off the line the second night, so that put me in last, and we just had to try something else and hope it worked out.
All right, so from there we moved to Rockwell, Iowa, the North Iowa Nationals in Rockwell, and things started to improve.
Yes, I got third that night, and that was probably the turning point in my season. We got rained out the second night, so that was a good weekend overall.
Definitely, definitely. So from there, went to Brandenburg, Kentucky. Tell us about the Meade County Fair in Brandenburg.
Brandenburg was very nice. We couldn't figure out the track as much with my truck. It was a good track. We just couldn't figure it out with my truck, so we'll hopefully try it back next year.
Good deal. So the Lion Super Bowl of the South, Chapel Hill, Tennessee, one of the best weekends of the year for the Foster Motorsports team. Second on Friday night, and then Saturday.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Saturday was my first ever win in Chapel Hill in my first chair, so that was a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Added the 4th chair to the Foster Motorsports family. So after Chapel Hill, going into Bowling Green, you're 12 points down, 3 hooks to go. Tell us about your weekend at the National Tractor Pulling Championships.
Bowling Green has never been well to me, so this year we changed a few things going into there and came out with a 5th and an 8th with a broken push rod the second night, so we fixed that in hopes that Wasion was better.
Yes, so the 4-wheel drive championship once again would be decided in Wasion, Ohio at the Tri-State pull there at Emmy Miller Tri-State Showdown, I think it's called. So going into that hook, you're 3 points behind. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts were just drive it like I normally do, and I just wanted to get out of the truck and know that I made a good pass.
Absolutely. And you laid down a monster pass, took the win there. How did that feel when you climbed out of that truck?
It felt pretty good. I that night drove both trucks, so I was just worried about getting back in the second one, and we were going to celebrate later.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Carmen, you're the third female to win a Grand National Championship, the youngest female. At the time you won the championship, you were the youngest person to ever win a championship. How does that feel? I mean, being a third-generation puller.
It's pretty amazing. I never thought it would be this year, let alone this young, but it's definitely something I've always dreamed of ever since I was little.
So, again, you're third-generation puller. Your grandpa pulled, your mom and dad both pulled. And how did you get started in the sport?
Well, when Dad had a truck when I was little, I always told him I wanted to drive. So we got a second truck because he wasn't ready to get out of the seat yet, and that's how it went on.
Okay, so you made your debut back in Toma, Wisconsin in 2016. Tell us that story, how that all played out.
The week before, I was actually in Europe, and my grandparents drove me that night to get to Toma for the second hook, and I threw the rods out of the bottom of the motor.
Yeah, but you've built from there, and just a few short years later, Grand National Champion. So, Carmen, this season you had a few challenges. What was the biggest challenge of 2021?
The biggest challenge was probably starting off so far down in the points. It wasn't necessarily anything bad or anything, but definitely wasn't expecting a championship this year.
So, what was the highlight of the season, or what were the highlights of your season?
Highlights were probably Wasion for sure, and then Chapel Hill. You couldn't have done better in Chapel Hill.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, when you were the test puller at a hook, what do you look for as a test puller when you decide if you're going to accept that hook or turn it down and come back later on?
Normally, if I'm test hook, it makes a good pass, and I don't think I could have done any different. Then we just keep it no matter what. If there's something I could have changed or something that didn't feel right on the truck, then we would have dropped it.
Gotcha. So, do you do anything different at a normal Grand National event, or do you do something different at a bigger pull like Toma or Bowling Green, Rockwell?
No, there's more trucks to watch there if we're farther back in the class, but otherwise it's just all the same. Just pay attention to the track and drive it.
Good deal. Good deal. So, when you come back for a pull off, what do you do to prepare for that? Do you do anything differently in a pull off than a first round pass?
We refuel, make sure the clutch is cooled off a little bit, and try and drive it the same, maybe make a few changes if we think need be, but otherwise just drive it like normal.
Great. So, who do you want to thank following up on this championship season?
I'd like to thank my parents for sure, Performance Pros, Simpico, SCS Gearbox, Simplot, John and Diane Cassins. Couldn't do it without all them.
Great deal. So, Carmen, you're a young lady. You're the next generation of our sport. What do you want to say to all the other young people coming up in our sport?
You can do it. Whatever you put your mind to, you've got it.
All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations again, Carmen Foster, the Foster Child Chevrolet out of Fairgrove, Michigan, your 2021 NTPA Grand National 4-Wheel Drive champion.